Hi everyone, this is Deepa Patani with Allen Pharmacy and Wellness. Again, this is our third video, and we're just trying to update everybody in our community about what's going on with Collin County and Dallas, and regarding the coronavirus and what the next steps may be for us and for our community. So I know that we've passed an order to restart some of the essential businesses, and that a lot of people are thrilled about it. A lot of people are still nervous about it. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes to just discuss that today and see what that really means when you break that down for the general public. And so, I know that at some point we have to stop the social distancing and we have to come out of it and we have to try to figure out what's going on, because of course this is not helping our economy. But then there's this other train of thought that says, well, if we start going back to how everything was, then how is that going to prevent the spread of the virus? And, aren't we all going to be in the same situation again pretty soon? Or aren't we going to double and triple our numbers? And so there's a lot of confusion. And of course, people are scared, people are worried, people are, but one thing I would like to say is, amongst all this, like, try to be kind, try to be patient. There's going to be different people, and everyone's going to have their own way of thinking about things. And that doesn't mean that any one of us is right or wrong. And we just have to learn to coexist and understand each other's perspective and, do what's good. And I know that Allen in Texas, and we'll do what we've always done, right? We've always stood together when the time comes, and we've done the right things when the time comes, and we're here. So we'll get through all this as well together. The one thing I want to say is, of course, at some point we have to take that next step, right? So at some point we have to start coming out of our homes. We have to start opening some of the businesses, and we have to think about the economy and the possibilities of where this is going, what the next step is. But at the same time, I want to stress that that does not mean that we're not taking the social distancing seriously, or that we're not doing the gloves and the mask and all those things that we've been working on all this time to prevent the spread, right? So we want to continue those protective things that we've been doing to protect ourselves, to protect our neighbors, to protect our friends and family. So you want to continue to do, wear your masks if you have to go out in public. I would still say that if you have any underlying conditions, or, if you're in the elderly category or the high-risk category, that you still continue, if you have people that can help you get your groceries, and if you can still do Instacart or curbside pickups and things, then I would encourage you to continue that. Just because some of the businesses are now open does not mean that all of us need to all be out, or even if we are out, that we don't need to take some of the precautions seriously. In fact, I would say that now it's even more prudent that we take those precautions seriously, because this will probably be the second wave of everything coming together again. And so we want to make sure that we keep that second wave. Again, we want to keep our numbers as low as possible, and we want to make sure that those complications stay as low as possible. And so for that, we want to continue our masks, our gloves, the sanitizers, the washing your hands for 30 seconds with soap and water, not touching your face and other mucosal membranes. We want to continue all of these things. One of the things that I would also say is, even if you are using the sanitizers and things in your cars, you want to make sure that you use the rule of two, which means that do not use the sanitizer more than twice before you go find soap and water to wash your hands. So just remember that even though you have the hand sanitizer, that is not the optimal way to prevent the spread. The optimal way to prevent the spread is to wash your hands with soap and water for 30 seconds. So make sure that you're doing that. And if you do have to use the sanitizer, know that that's just an in-between that's kind of keeping you or protecting you until you can get to that soap and water. So use the rule of two. Do not use the sanitizer more than twice before you actually go wash your hands with soap and water. So learn to use that. And then also, when you are taking off your gloves or taking off your masks, make sure that you are rolling them when you're taking your gloves off, that you're taking them off inside out, and then you're putting that in the trash and not just throwing it out in the public areas and in parking lots, which I know everywhere that I've kind of had to go, I've seen so many masks and gloves just thrown on the floor. And, please try not to do that, right? Like, because we're trying to protect everyone, not just ourselves, because if we don't think about everybody's safety, then we're also not going to be safe. So if you need to carry something in your car to put that trash in, then please do so. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, the testing area. So as we see that, things are starting to reopen, and as there are more tests that are coming out, we're of course going to see a rise in the number of positive cases. But that has to be attributed to two things. One, we're doing more tests, so of course we're going to have more positive results. But on the second time is that, because more of the businesses are starting to open, of course the disease is going to take the second wave, and so we'll have more people that will test positive as well. So you have to keep both of those theories in mind when you're looking at the total numbers, and not just the fact that we now have more cases because we did this or the other, but it's also because we're testing more people that we're seeing a lot more positives. One thing that I was very, very excited about was in Collin County, we have about 600 plus cases right now, and 14 people have died from COVID, which is very unfortunate. Even one is unfortunate, right? And about 16 people are hospitalized. But I want to stress that 400 plus people have also recovered. So that is one great thing. Whenever we're looking at anything in social media, we only see deaths. But, we also want to stress that people are recovering as well. 400 plus people have recovered, which is great news, which means that we're on our way to build that herd immunity, which will eventually be what's necessary here. And so, at this point, it's not really a matter of if we're going to catch the disease or if we're going to catch the virus, but it's a matter of when we're going to be exposed to the virus, right? So and what does that mean, really? For most of us, that means that, if we're healthy, we're taking care of ourselves, then it'll be like, we'll be sick, we'll quarantine for 2 weeks, and then we'll be good. We'll have the antibodies, and then we'll move on. So then I had a really, really good question this week. So when we were talking about this, I had a really good question from a patient, and they said, well, if we're all going to catch it anyways, then why are we social distancing at all? Like, why don't we just get it over with and be done with it? And the reason for why we're still continuing that social distancing is that everything that has to do with the virus, whether like the severity of it, the complications of it, has to do with something called viral load. And what that is how much virus you actually have in your body when you get exposed to it. So when you keep the social distancing and you're taking the precautions seriously, that, you may come in contact with maybe one or two people that may have the virus, and that might be a very small amount of virus that's in your body. But if we were to take all those precautions away and now everybody's around everyone, then now you're going to be around, instead of one or two people that might have it, you may be around 6 or 7 or 8 people that may have the virus. And that means that your exposure and the amount of virus that you have inside you would be higher. And that would also affect your severity, and because the disease is different for each person and how your body reacts to it, right? So that will change how the disease affects you personally, and it will affect how soon you get out of it or the complications that you as an individual have from it. So it's very important for that reason as well that we continue to keep this social distancing part going on, despite all and we try to go out, during for essential items and all those precautions that we've been taking. But that was one of the main things that I wanted to address today. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm always here. You can always call me at the pharmacy, 972-372-9775. And I wanted to leave on a high note that, yes, there have been positive cases, but yes, we're also seeing a lot of people recovering from it. So hopefully that will ease some of the nerves and ease some of the anxiety that we have. And let's end it at that and have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.